Hello, Yu-Gi-Oh players. How are you today? I played competitive Yu-Gi-Oh for about 2 years. Now, when I say competitive, not a meta deck, I use rogue decks. And this is what I learned. When you're playing a rogue deck against your opponent, a lot of the times your opponent has no idea what you're doing. They're so hyper focused on the meta decks, how to side for the meta decks, how to beat the meta decks, that when they play your deck, they're like, huh? It's like they just forget what to do. And you get a lot of wins just because of that surprise factor. Disadvantages of playing competitively and using a rogue deck is that you need good hands often. You need good hands. Every deck needs good hands. I know that. But when I was playing my rogue deck and I summoned one monster and they Ash Blossom, I had no pivot points. When I'm playing against a meta deck, I Ash Blossom, they go here. I Imperm here, they switch, they go here, they still make a full board. So you need to be very careful about your plays. You have to, well, for me, I baited out my opponent for certain plays. Like if I wanted them to imperm this card and another card later on down my play line, I would do that. Or I would play a card first, hoping they ash that and not ash the main card that I actually need to play. So you got to play around hand traps, plan around hand traps and misplays. If you don't do that, playing rogue and playing competitively, it is less forgiving for your deck. When you play competitively, you meet every type of play style. You meet the power shufflers. You meet the random shufflers. You meet the shuffle three times. You meet the slow players. You meet the fast players. You meet the rule sharks. You meet the people who talk and say hello. You meet the people who don't say anything at all. You meet so many people, and so you kind of go into a tournament with your ears and eyes open, expecting the unexpected. And thinking about expecting the unexpected, this goes to one of my other points before, you gotta expect a hand trap. You can't just play your deck like you playing against yourself and there's nobody there. You have to expect what's gonna come ahead. You have to know what your opponent's playing, especially a meta deck, and how your deck competes. What's your winning strategy against their deck? Sometimes playing competitively versus like playing against yourself and testing yourself, it just doesn't translate into real life. And here's what I mean. Sometimes you got to make a half board so you can have follow up. Maybe that's just enough to win. Sometimes if you go all out and go for that full combo, sometimes it's just flexing and it's just not necessary for you to even do that. And a lot of times when I play against my opponent, I'm like, you know what? I end my turn. And if I kept going, nib or this or that or asylum or whatever they're waiting for, because sometimes people hold on to their hand traps. And I found that out against when I was playing my non-meta deck, my rogue deck, Chimera, people were saving their Ash Blossom for Bertha. And I figured that out. So I would never summon Bertha and I would end my turn. And they were like, oh, I had Ash Blossom. Yeah, you should have activated. But they didn't. When you're playing competitively, bring some food. Bring some water. Be prepared. I went to a lot of YCSs. I always bought water. I always bought food. There was sometimes I was so hungry, I'm like, I can't concentrate. Or I'm so tired. Or another thing I did was take naps in between rounds. Like, if I'm playing all day, you get tired. So you have to just relax, rest yourself, go to the bathroom, eat, bring some food, just be prepared. Day two. Oh, I've made it to day two a few times. Go to sleep. I know you want to play test or whatever. Some people don't sleep and they do well. But for me, I need to sleep. So if you make it to day two, I suggest you sleep, get some rest, maybe play test against some of the meta decks, and maybe there were some plays you misplayed. You look back at your last round, you say, you know what? I'm going to do this next time. I'm going to do this next time. I did that with Super Poly against Malice. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait for them to have 3 monsters on the board, and then I'm a Super Poly. Or if I have 2 Super Polys in my hand, I will set one and don't set the other. I set both. Because what ended up happening is they destroyed my back row or they banished my back row. And I'm like, dang, I kept my Super Poly in my hand. I should have set that one. So a lot of times I've done that. I played competitively for about 2 years and I learned a lot. Those are the things that have helped me out the most that I can think of off the top of my head. And I know you played competitively. You may know some tips. You can leave it in the comment section below. It might be different from mine. Who knows? Thanks for watching your Yu-Gi-Oh channel, and I end my turn. It's your move.